Hey guys, let's get more news about Warriors, but first, don't forget to subscribe and leave your like. Starting lineup report suggests Warriors' two-timeline approach remains entrenched. After injuries decimated their 2019-20 season that culminated with landing the second overall pick, the Golden State Warriors entered the now infamous two-timeline period with the hope their dynasty would extend through generations. They selected James Wiseman second overall, yet the 7-foot center was far from the only piece the franchise hoped would help bridge the present to the future. A year later they added two more lottery picks in Jonathan Kuminga and Moses Moody, while their late first-round pick from 2019, Jordan Poole, was starting to emerge as a serious NBA player. Thanks to Stephen Curry's brilliance, the Warriors remarkably claimed a fourth championship the following season. That came despite Poole being the only one of the young quartet to have any significant impact, leaving Golden State as the envy of many given they were about to add three talented recent lottery picks to a title team. Instead, the idea created far more problems for the franchise. Wiseman turned out to be a bust, and both Kuminga and Moody often struggled to earn the trust of head coach Steve Kerr. Poole remained an important player the following season, but he was undoubtedly impacted by the altercation with Draymond Green in training camp that left a gloomy darkness hanging over the team. In the space of 5 months last year, Wiseman was traded for Gary Payton II and Poole for the now 39-year-old Chris Paul. Many deemed it the death of the two-timeline idea. Turns out they were wrong. If there's anything positive that could be taken from the Warriors missing the playoffs last season, it was the development of their young players that seemingly reignited the two-timeline approach. It took time and some leaking of unhappiness to the media, but Kuminga finally started to receive consistent playing time and subsequently broke out into arguably the team's second-best offensive player. Then, in a complete contrast to everything else in recent years, Golden State drafted two players at speculative picks, 19 and 57, that Kerr became happy to play extensively as rookies. Brandon Podziemski led the team in cumulative plus-minus, while Tracy Jackson-Davis ended the season as the starting center. Entering next season, the current state of the roster suggests the two-timeline strategy is well and truly alive. In a report on Monday outlining the Lauri Markkanen trade situation, Yahoo Sports' Jake Fisher stated, citing sources, that the Warriors have envisioned both players, Kuminga and Podziemski, in starting roles for next year. Both at 21 years old, it seems Golden State are eager to place great faith in not only each of Kuminga and Podziemski to be starters, but have even more significant roles beyond that. Kuminga appears likely to be the Warriors' second go-to option offensively, while Podziemski is slated to be the backup point guard when Curry is resting. It could all change if Golden State do fulfill their dream to land Markkanen via trade, but all the recent reporting suggests they're unwilling to use Podziemski to do so, and that the Jazz don't overly value Kuminga given his extension eligibility. It's unlikely that the Warriors will be able to get Markkanen as a result, yet if they somehow do, there's a fair chance that the 2023 All-Star joins a starting five that still retains both young players. Starting two 21-year-olds alongside a 36 and 34-year-old is a bold move. Has it ever worked to a high level in the NBA? Regardless of the answer, the Warriors appear keen on making it happen in what would be the latest iteration of this audacious two-timeline approach. Warriors' offer for Lauri Markkanen revealed. Just as it did with Paul George months prior, the Golden State Warriors' dream of trading for All-Star forward Lauri Markkanen has died. While the Warriors had plenty of conversations with the Utah Jazz about the sharpshooting 7-footer, no trade materialized. That led to Markkanen informing the Jazz that he would like to stay with the organization, and now there are reports that an extension exceeding $200 million will be signed any day now. As the rumors for both George and Markkanen heated up, many Warriors fans were left wondering what the team was willing to part with in their pursuit of a star. And now we have some further information there. On Tuesday, The Athletic published a report co-authored by Warriors beat writer Anthony Slater, Jazz beat writer Tony Jones, and national reporter Shams Charania, detailing the entire Markkanen situation. Per the report, the Warriors made the most aggressive offer, centered around Moses Moody, multiple first-round picks, pick swaps and second-rounders, team sources from both sides said. As had been previously reported, Golden State did not want to trade Brandon Podziemski, with the Athletic article stating that the team was protective of Podziemski in the Markkanen conversation and a few other league-wide trade proposals this summer. Not surprisingly, the report added that the Jazz wanted Podziemski in any potential deal. It's certainly fair to debate if the Warriors are clinging too tightly to Podziemski. But then again, if they think that he's a special player, a very justified thought, why give up so many years of team control, 3 of which are very affordable, just to trade for another special player who is owed significantly more money? And of course, just because the Jazz wanted Podziemski doesn't mean that they would have made that trade had Golden State subbed in Pods. They might have needed that to start the talks, but needed a lot more to end them. Either way, we have some idea as to what the Dubs are willing to part with as they chase a star to share the court with Steph Curry and Draymond Green. It just doesn't seem likely to be enough wherever they look. NBA rumors, Warriors trade plans after Lauri Markkanen failure emerges. Lauri Markkanen will soon be taken off the trade market once he signs his contract extension with the Utah Jazz. The Golden State Warriors were among the primary suitors for a trade for the Finnish star. Now, they'll have to pivot. The Jazz deciding to keep Markkanen around for the future gives them a foundational player and, at worst, someone they can flip for a trade next offseason. Utah's decision has major ramifications for the rest of the league, namely Golden State. The Warriors missed out on Paul George already and now will have to wait for another star of their liking to become available. The Warriors are still looking to make moves ahead of the regular season, according to Shams Charania, Tony Jones, and Anthony Slater of The Athletic. The Athletic writes the following: the Warriors have 14 players under contract for next season and feel comfortable entering training camp and the regular season as currently constructed, team sources said, though they are expected to explore smaller-scale deals more actively than is typical in August and September. They've shown no appetite to enter the Zach LaVine or Brandon Ingram market. Although landing Markkanen would have made the Warriors much better, keeping Brandon Podziemski, who Utah coveted in a trade, is what's best. They need some young players to carry the franchise forward once they eventually bottom out in the years after Stephen Curry and Draymond Green. Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and Tracy Jackson-Davis would be nice to keep but can be more expendable in trades. The Warriors could pursue a forward like Jeremy Grant from the rebuilding Portland Trail Blazers. They could look to trade for someone from the Brooklyn Nets like Cameron Johnson, Dorian Finney-Smith or Bojan Bogdanovic from the Brooklyn Nets, who are ready to tank. They could also hit up the Washington Wizards and try to land Malcolm Brogdon. Better options could emerge as the offseason comes to an end and the regular season gets going. Landing Buddy Hield, DeAnthony Melton and Kyle Anderson this offseason gives the Warriors more depth, but they may not be able to crack the playoffs without making a sizable upgrade. The front office is surely looking over its options. And you, fan? What do you think of the situation of Lauri Markkanen? Leave your opinion in the comments.